Welcome back to Shoot the Shot, an NBA and variety show. It is October 15th, 2021. Jonathan Osborne here. As always, I am joined by my co-host, the illustrious Luke Sylvia. Luke, what's going on, man? How are you? Illustrious. Don't ask me. I don't even know what that word really means, but I know it's a good adjective to bestow upon a person.
I guess. I mean, yeah, it means well known.
Like dynamism.
You know? Yeah, dynamism.
That's an inside joke. You guys don't need to know about that, but yeah, that's just an inside joke here.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we have our jokes. Everything's good, man. I am a bachelor here for a few days. I mean, Lauren and Harper are in Florida, so they're hanging out with some friends at the beach, and then they're hanging out with some family. So
Very nice.
I'm just kind of hanging out, working, coming home, and doing whatever.
Bachelor life as a dad, I mean, you don't really have bachelor life. You have like a couple of days, a few hours. Like last Friday, I had about 4 hours, with when you're a dad, married with kids. Like your bachelor time is any time that you either don't have to watch kids or your wife's not around. Like you just have time really to yourself, which becomes very rare after you become a dad. And I had about 4 hours last Friday. It was like 4:07. Wife and kids left the house, went right to the fridge, cracked a beer. Didn't care that it was only 4 o'clock. Whatever. Yeah. Just sat down, played video games for a few hours, watched some anime, some Naruto, which I've gotten more into. Let's talk about Naruto for a second, Luke, because I know you started to get into it, and then you kind of stopped.
Yeah.
You haven't watched it in a while. Where did you leave off? How far into Naruto did you get?
End of season 2 or something like that. They had just finished the test basically, or the I should say, maybe it wasn't the end of season 2. It was like they finished the that preliminary round where they all had to go one-on-one and see who made it to that final. Yeah. So
you got to experience like Rock Lee and Gaara.
Oh yeah.
And you stopped after that.
Yeah.
How? What? Life get in the way? You lost interest? I don't understand.
I'm really ADD, so if I get off something, I'm off it for a while. So Xbox, I haven't played in over a month. Netflix, I'm pretty much we just finished Squid Game, and So I mean, and now I'm finishing Money Heist right now. I don't know if you've seen that, but yeah. So I'm doing those shows right now, and I'll get back into it, but. For now, I'm away.
So Squid Game, now that you finished it, we've talked about it a little bit. Yeah. What's your overall analysis, 1 through 10? What are we looking at with Squid Game? Does it live up to the hype, or maybe not?
I think it was like a 8.5 or 9 for me.
Okay, that's good enough for me.
Was, without spoilers, I think it was really well done. Especially for a show that you either have to watch it with, dubbed over in English or subtitles.
You have to watch it with subtitles. To watch it with subtitles.
Yeah, I can't do the mouse being off. That's my biggest thing. So, we just finished it last night. Lauren was heading to Florida. Like I said, she's there now. And I was like, we got 2 episodes left. We're knocking them out tonight.
One of these times, Lauren, takes a trip to Florida. By all means, grab Luke. Bring him with you. We'd like to see it. We'd like to see.
She doesn't let me out of the house, so.
Yeah. Well, good-looking guy. She doesn't, want the ladies all over you.
You're onto something. So
yeah, exactly. So, so if Squid Game is an 8.5/9, what do you have Breaking Bad? Because I know that's your favorite show of all time.
9.8.
Breaking Bad's a 9.8.
Yeah.
What's a 10?
I don't know, but it's
on.
It's gonna. It's the closest to a 10.
Say it's a 10. It's okay to say it's a 10.
It is the best show I've ever seen. So, sure, we can give it a 10.
That you're one of those guys where you're not okay with giving something a 10 unless every single aspect of it is perfect.
Well, maybe, but yeah.
So Breaking Bad to you isn't a full point better than Squid Game. You're going to have to think about this a little bit, I feel like.
Yeah,
we'll
my
come
rating
back to
system
this
might be
in a later date. It might be. I think your rating system is like 2K's rating system, I feel like.
Okay, that's a little disrespectful.
Yeah. All right, you're right. All right, let's talk some NBA, Luke, because the preseason is, pretty much wrapped up. We're really just 5-6 days, 6 days, I think, away for 5 days, something like that. I don't know. Depending on when you guys are listening to this, it's coming up pretty soon, the next 4 or 5 days, the next week. Preseason's over. Something that I didn't realize, it was brought to my attention really this morning, that Giannis has honestly transformed his jump shot.
Yeah.
I know that you've taken a look at this. I don't know how many of our listeners out there have seen this, but the form is much more compact. It's much smooth. It actually looks like a jump shot now,
Right.
and not like a Greek god just catapulting the ball off of Mount Olympus. You know, like Giannis tends to look like. The jump shot legitimately looks good. Whether or not it's going to go in, like last night, I think he hit 5 of 8 jump shots in the Bucks preseason game. That's not going to happen every single night. But even if the numbers, he doesn't make this huge statistical improvement, I think with more reps, we are going to see Giannis start to shoot the ball at least a little bit better. What were your thoughts when you saw the new form?
Smooth, like you said. I mean, it didn't seem so weird. It didn't start, I don't know. I mean, he would start low and end up real high, and now his shot form is just a lot smoother, like you said. So I'm interested to see Ben Simmons. I hope you're in the corner over there taking notes, bud, because Giannis is someone who has transformed his shot, or is at least working on it. I mean, we've seen proof of it, right? I mean, Giannis shoots 3.5 attempts last year, 4.7 the year before that. Both those years he didn't shoot below 30. For a guy like him who's so dominant in the paint, his 3-point percentage doesn't have to be incredible. I mean, doing everything he did, and he's winning championships now and stuff. If Giannis can shoot even 33%, if he can see an uptick of 3% this year, I mean, that's going to help them immensely as a team when they get to the playoffs and late game. If you can trust that Giannis is going to hit a 3 to win the game instead of having to rely on somebody else like Chris Middleton. Middleton's a great option, but I mean, Giannis, if you want to be able to have the ball in his hands no matter what the situation is, if you need a 3, you need a 2, whatever it is.
So I forget what round it was of the playoffs. I think it might have been the Eastern Conference Finals, or it may have even been the NBA Finals. But there was a stat that at one point last year, the Bucks were 18-0 in games where Giannis did not attempt a single three-pointer. And in my mind, weird kind of abstract stats like that, you're like, okay, that has really just got to be a coincidence, right? Me, if I do anything 18 times in a row and I get the same results, if I'm looking for that result, I'm just going to continue to do that. So in some of these games where Giannis was almost not being forced, but was settling for three-pointers, in my mind, I'm just like, bro, you literally have not lost a game this season when you decided, you know what, I'm not going to take a 3. So I just would have sworn them off altogether if I were him. But Giannis is right now on track, adding the championship, the finals MVP, all of that does a lot for one's legacy. But Giannis was already on track to be one of the all-time greats. If this guy legitimately develops a jump shot that goes in at a league average rate, if it's 33, 34, if he gets to 35, 36%, he's legitimately going to be a problem. Because it's great, obviously, you and I think that LeBron James is arguably the greatest basketball player of all time. Giannis at times I think is even more physically imposing than LeBron was in his prime, just because of the length and how, within 2 steps, he's from half court and he's at the rim, basically. Mm-hmm. If he's able to shoot near the level of LeBron, LeBron's not a sharpshooter, but has become much better of a 3-point shooter over the years. Man, Giannis, he is really set to just take over the league for years to come.
Yeah, I don't see a reason why if Giannis's jump shot does turn around like it looks like it is right now, no reason that they can't give the Nets a run for their money when it comes, playoff time, especially if Kyrie Irving is not there.
Which it does not look like he will be. We can talk about that just, kind of briefly here. Kyrie on Instagram Live last night basically saying, don't believe what you're hearing. I'm not retiring. I'm not doing all these things. Gave his reasons for not getting vaccinated, but he seems perfectly content with riding this out. The Nets have basically said, hey, we're not allowing any, part-time employees here. Right. We're running a professional basketball team. If you're not here all the time, you're just not going to be here.
Yeah, I mean, and good for them, right? I mean, they could have easily said, you know what, this is a weird circumstance, right? Let's have you play on the road against the teams that will allow you to play. not the big market teams that are basically having these mandates essentially. And we just kind of ride with it, and your choice is your choice, and that's it. I mean, you take the pay cuts for home games and whatever. But good on them for just saying like, no, it's you're all in or you're not at all. So I think this is two titans clashing between the Brooklyn Nets organization and Kyrie Irving. I just don't know. I mean, I don't think Kyrie budges. I know the Nets aren't going to budge. They're trying to make a point. I don't know what this comes to. If he says he's not retiring, then he must get traded.
Luke, do you think it's at the point now? We saw, obviously, basically, the year after the Cavs won the championship in 2016, they lose to the Warriors with KD the next year, and then Kyrie wants out. So we've seen him leave the Cavs. He left the Celtics, in a pretty sour fashion. Now, the issues that we're seeing in Brooklyn, like at some point, like there's a common denominator. Yeah. And I've been saying this for a long time. I feel like a lot of people do feel this way. Now, we've had conversations about, vaccination and whether that should be your choice. If you want to hear that stuff, you can listen to our previous episodes. But at some point, like it really just seems like this guy is going to cause problems everywhere that he goes. Mm-hmm. And I think the most logical thing at this point is for the Nets to move on from Kyrie. I think it's honestly best for both parties. Yeah. Like, the Nets, they have all this, whether or not they're paying Kyrie, he's still taking up salary cap space. And he obviously wants to play basketball. He wants to be paid. And if he does want to play without getting vaccinated, it sounds like he's going to have to do it elsewhere. So the next guy that we were set to talk about is Ben Simmons. And I mentioned this, I think we talked about this, a couple of weeks ago. But again, like that trade, Ben Simmons for Kyrie, the fact that the Nets are coming out and just flat out saying like, no, this is not going to happen. We're not going to allow this guy to play. To me, it even makes a lot more sense now to make that deal particularly.
Yeah, and who knows, ultimately what's going to come of all this. It's really hard to tell. It's uncharted territory. And, when it comes to Kyrie, I've heard people say, oh, well, don't get mad at Kyrie. It's his choice about the vaccine. It's like, no, it's not the vaccine that's driving me crazy. It is not anything to do with that. It's just that there is always something. Like, there is just always something that this dude has a problem with more than everybody else, right? It bothers him more than anybody else, no matter what it is. And it's just like, it just feels like he's very entitled. He's never going to budge. If you're going to request a trade. Like, if you're not going to anticipate, like, honor what your organization is saying, right? I mean, they're going by state. Like, they just honor what they're saying and just say, you're right. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to budge. You're not going to budge. Get me out of here, respectfully. Yeah. But this is just weird, man. And every time Kyrie talks, it's all mellow and like, he comes across as sounding like he knows what he's talking about. And I'm just like, man, shut up, dude. Like you talk so much when you talk. And it's just like, it is always, like I said, it is always something with Kyrie Irving. Always.
Kind of this conversation apart, I think when like the point like Kyrie really lost me for good was when he shows up to Boston to play there the first time and he's got the sage and he's like going around like trying to cleanse the arena. Weird, and then dude. Like a few times later they play in Boston and he's stomping on the logo in center court. Yeah. Like, bro, stop. What if you're trying to cleanse any toxicity, start with you first and just kind of work your way out from there. But I like watching Kyrie play basketball when he's healthy. It's kind of hard not to be entertained by the way that he plays basketball. But at this time, like you said, respectfully, it's just in both parties' best interest to part ways. Like it seems like he wants to be in Brooklyn. Obviously, he wouldn't have signed there if he didn't want to be in Brooklyn. He wants to be close to his hometown in New Jersey. But bro, they're not going to let you play if you're not getting the vaccine. Just go in and be like, yo, I want to get out of here. Get me out of here. And they'll find a way to do it. I even made the joke last night to you that if he really wants out, what would really be fun is just trade Kyrie for Russell Westbrook. Get Kyrie back with LeBron James. It'll be fun to watch those guys in L.A. And then it would be amazing to see all the Oklahoma City fans just completely melt down when the Brooklyn Nets win a championship with Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook. Be absolutely fantastic.
The narrative
I would
is
love
funny.
that.
The narrative
It really
is funny,
is.
but remember, if Kyrie goes to LA, then he won't be on a team with someone who can hit that last second shot.
Oh,
Remember?
that's true. At least in his opinion, that's what Kyrie has said. Yeah. So
Yeah. So, and which we
I
all
mean,
know
he's
to
got
be
Carmelo Anthony, so
right.
at least he's got Melo.
I don't know if there's anybody else there that could hit a last second shot.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
not one of
mean,
the most clutch players in NBA history.
it depends who you ask, Luke. I mean, there is a guy who lives in LA who happens to play for a team that wears purple and gold,
right.
who has a better, he's hit more postseason game winners basically than anybody in history. So,
Yeah.
But that guy isn't all that clutch, according to Kyrie. But this isn't going to be like a LeBron, slurp fest or whatever. Like, we're not about to do that whole thing.
It can be.
But moving on, let's talk about Ben Simmons, Luke. Let's talk about Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons basically told the 76ers to F off. I don't want anything to do with you guys. Delete my number, trade me, do whatever you have to do. And then once he realized that the paychecks weren't coming in, just snuck his way to Philadelphia and is just knocking on the door there like, hey, guys, I'm here to take my COVID test. What's going on? Didn't tell anybody from the organization that he was going to show up. They found out he was coming to Philly when he showed up to the facility, Luke. What do you think of this?
Yeah. So you got Simmons camp that is probably still urging them like, hey, make a trade. We're here so we don't lose money. And that was the thing. I was listening to the Pick a Side podcast, a clip of theirs they put on YouTube like last week or something, but they were just talking about like, there is no way Ben Simmons people aren't, whispering in his ear like, hey, you got to go get your money. Like, you can't do this. This is not a good look. And he shows up, right? And I'm sure that his camp is still urging a trade. I mean, because
it doesn't sound like he's going to play. Like, it doesn't.
No, he showed up. And can you imagine if like opening night, like he actually like suits up, but he doesn't even like play a minute? I mean, they put him out in garbage time.
No, they wouldn't dare. They wouldn't dare do that. I could see him like showing up and just sitting on the bench in like street clothes. I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea at this point. Like, regardless of what he does with his teammates, like Danny Green said, like, we're not asking you to come in and shoot jump shots. We're asking you to come in and do your job. Just apologize and we're good. That might be fine with the teammates, the guys on the team. It's not going to fly with Philadelphia fans.
No.
He rolls out there, I don't know at this point if it would even be opening night. I don't know what kind of shape he's in. But 5-10 games, he gets rolled out there in Philadelphia to the starting lineup. He's 100% getting booed. He's getting booed every single time he touches the ball.
Yeah.
He's going to get booed and, I don't know, hot dogs thrown at him when he's walking through the tunnel back to the locker room. Like, it's not going to be like an amiable reunion in Philadelphia for Ben Simmons and the Philadelphians. What are Philadelphia-ites? I don't know what the heck you call it.
I don't know that they're ites. I don't know what that is, but
Philadelphia Johns, I don't know what you call them there.
Philadelphians. I think we're good there.
Philadelphians,
not Dalphians.
Philadelphians. You're right, Philadelphia. That's my northeastern accent coming out. Philadelphia. Philadelphia.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't see that going well, but I think it's hilarious that they just had no idea that he was showing up until he showed up. Still fully expect them to, come to some type of agreement and get him moved at some point, but I'm pretty interested to see if he's actually going to play. I don't think he will, but I could be wrong. But
if it's all about not losing money,
TV.
Then he might have to. I don't know.
I don't think it would be as bad, but it would be like, I don't know, not going to be like Kevin Durant, returning to Oklahoma City, or like LeBron returning to Cleveland with the Heat where they were throwing batteries. But I don't know. There might be some popcorn thrown. There might be. I don't know.
Philadelphia fans, they're crazy. I don't know. We'll see.
So, Luke, the Magic, the team that you and I, root for, pretty hard.
Yeah.
They had their last preseason game last night against the Boston Celtics. There are some notable guys out for the Celtics, like Al Horford and Jaylen Brown, who are both, recovering. I don't even know if they have COVID symptoms, but they both tested positive for COVID. So they're in the league's health and safety protocol. Dennis Schroeder was out. Jason Tatum was out. Marcus Smart was also out, which, I mean, I didn't really think anything of it last night when all the other veterans were out. But today we learned that Marcus Smart missed the team flight from Boston to Orlando, and now he's going to be suspended for the final preseason game.
How do you do that?
That I think it has to be a choice.
Yeah, like there's no way that they were just like, all right, guys, like they missed a head count. They're like, all
Yeah.
right, we got
Kevin,
everybody.
Kevin, like Home
Like,
Alone, like that
right.
didn't happen. Yeah.
No, that didn't happen, and it had to have been like, maybe teammates texting Marcus like, "Hey, what's up, man?" No response, and then for whatever, like, what was he doing?
I don't know. I don't think we've heard exactly what the reasoning was. I'm sure, he just, I don't know, like fell asleep, forgot to set an alarm type of thing, woke up and the team was
And then
gone.
he just gets to Miami on his own.
Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe I don't know what
Did
the
he fire up the
procedures
private
are
jet
for.
or what?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know how
He was
these teams
riding
discipline
Delta.
guys. Like, do they care like if you have a flat tire and you just can't make it? Like they're like, oh, sorry, we're gonna suspend you anyways, or what? Like, would they, give you like a business class
Maybe
plane ticket
maybe a
to
G
get somewhere?
leaguer.
I don't know.
Maybe a G leaguer. Ain't no way that they're taking off on a plane without Marcus Smart unless
You
it's
don't think
voluntary. No.
they got deadlines to meet? Who knows? I don't know. I don't really know. I'm sure they probably could have figured something out to get Marcus Smart on that plane, but it's just not really a big deal. It's a preseason game. He's not even going to be suspended for like a regular
No, he'll be
season
there for the
game.
opener.
So like this is very much like slow news,
Yeah.
day
But
type
still
of
hilarious.
stuff coming out. Yeah. All right, Luke. So yeah, NBA season starting this week. This is our last chance to talk about our predictions for the NBA regular season awards. So we're talking about MVP, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved Player, Sixth Man of the Year, Coach of the Year. We're not going to talk about Executive of the Year. Honestly, it's just really a boring award. Nobody really cares who wins that other than maybe the executives. Luke, let's start with MVP. Who do you have winning the MVP this year?
I mean, we talked about his teammate earlier, Kyrie Irving. If he's out, I don't see why Kevin Durant can't come in and just win MVP solely because I think now he is the best player in the league. I don't see why he can't. He's going to be on the best team in the league. He's Kevin Durant, man. I think that he can easily win this MVP award, and that's who I've got winning it.
So me, I have a repeat. I think it's going to be Nikola Jokic. Obviously won the MVP last year. It is a very, narrative driven league, obviously, but I think he was very deserving last year. He's going to have to take such a step up because of they're missing Jamal Murray, who's still recovering from the ACL. If the Denver Nuggets are going to be successful at all this year, it's going to rest on the shoulders of two guys, I think, Nikola Jokic and Michael Porter Jr. I really think that Jokic even has another level that he can go to. I think Michael Porter Jr., I'll talk more about him in a little bit. Spoiler alert. But yeah, I think Jokic has a good chance to win the award, once again, and, another back-to-back MVP. We've seen plenty of those, throughout the, the last decade. Obviously, LeBron, Giannis, won back-to-back MVPs.
Yeah.
So, Steph won back-to-back MVPs. So, yeah, I think it's going to be Jokic. I'm pretty I like that pick a lot. What about Rookie of the Year? Who you got?
Not gonna overthink it. I'm going Cade Cunningham. Cade is incredible on both sides of the ball. We know that. He's a guy that's going to give every play effort on both sides of the ball. I really think that's what it's going to come down to for me. I mean, you definitely could make a case for Jalen Green, which I have a feeling I know where you're going.
Okay. All right. Why don't you just tell everybody what I picked? How about we not do that?
Jonathan picked Jalen Green, guys. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
We didn't discuss this.
We didn't, but
I know you, and I know Jalen Green's your boy, and it makes sense. It is a great pick.
I don't know.
But I do think that Cade just cares more in terms of, especially defensively. And I think that's what's going to come down to. Cade is going to get his on offense. He's a leader. He's going to be able to be something that those guys in the Pistons locker room can rally around. I think Rookie of the Year, like I said, I'm not overthinking it. He's number one for a reason.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Jalen Green. I think, Cade Cunningham, I think, arguably he has the better roster right now. They're both going to have, the opportunities to like go out and get theirs, but like Jerian Grant is definitely a guy that is very much still going to, go out and get his. I think Killian Hayes is going to have, a better year, this year for them. Jalen Green, I think, is just really motivated to prove that he should have been the number one pick. He's a guy that he's saying like he definitely wants to come out and be Rookie of the Year. I think he's going to score the ball at a really high level from day one. He's going to have every opportunity to win Rookie of the Year. I just like Jalen Green. I think he's going to be like the sexy pick, even though that Cade Cunningham is the number 1 overall pick. I think especially just when you watch their games, Jalen Green is the guy that's going to kind of jump off of the screen. His game is a little bit sexier, if you will. He's got a lot of the athleticism, all the dribble moves. He's going to put some guys in posters this year. And for those reasons, I think a lot of this, it doesn't always go to the best rookie or, the best player in the league, obviously, as we know. A lot of times it's, what's the narrative and what are people talking about and what makes for the better story. So Jalen Green, kind of feeling like he's snubbed as, the number 2 overall pick. If he puts up, 22, 23 points per game this year, I definitely think it's possible that he wins Rookie of the Year. Who do you have for most improved?
Most improved, I think we got the same guy, I think. I'm going to go Michael Porter Jr. I'm good.
I'm going first next. All right? No, go ahead.
No, I mean, and obviously, we can piggyback off each other here, but MPJ, I mean, he filled in great, alongside Jamal Murray. They really didn't, see a huge downturn in games that they, lost and won. He's incredible. I mean, averaged 20 points a game last year. And then you might be thinking of yourself like, well, you average 20 points a game. How much better do you think he's going to get? With Murray out, man, I really do think that he could average 26 a game this year. I think that he is that good. Michael Porter Jr., man, he's something to be, not to be messed with at all. And I think that he's, going to be able to win that MIP this year.
So, yeah, we talked, a few weeks ago about what are some of our, most interesting storylines heading into the season. Michael Porter Jr. is very much, that for me. I think, he had a pretty significant step up in terms of scoring the basketball, the last few weeks of the regular season without Jamal Murray. Not only is this guy just like a great scorer in terms of like just flat out like statistical prowess, like he's able to put the ball in the basket, but he's just so efficient. Last year, 44.5% from the 3-point line, shot 54% from the floor, 79% from the free throw line, averaging 19.7 rebounds a game. Like this kid is just such an elite talent, which is, going into, the draft a few years back. He was supposed to be one of the best players in that draft, and then the back issues and, a Clippers team doctor, now we know it basically set out, this kid might not ever play basketball again. I wouldn't draft him. So all these teams pass on him. Clippers passed on him twice, I believe. So, yeah, now he's in Denver, and I think he's going to ball out without Jamal Murray. Again, I've got Jokic as my pick to, win MVP. I've got Michael Porter Jr. to be MIP, not because of the improvement that he is going to make, but he's just going to be in so much more of a prominent role there without Jamal Murray. Like Jamal Murray went crazy in the bubble a couple of summers ago, and that I think really put him on the map for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Denver, they've been so good. They have the reigning MVP. They're probably going to be a playoff team again this year. I'm sure they have quite a few nationally televised games. Like this is going to be Michael Porter Jr.'s coming out party this season, and if Denver is going to be successful, it's going to be because of Jokic, and it's going to be because of Michael Porter Jr., and he's going to have just so much more of an opportunity to showcase his talent. And he's been dying for this kind of opportunity. He's been talking the last 2 years about how he wants to be more of a focal point offensively.
Yeah.
He's not going to have a better opportunity than this. And especially with a guy like Jokic, where if MPJ gets open, he's going to get the ball wherever he needs the ball. So I really like Michael Porter Jr. For most improved player as well. Sixth man of the year, I've got another repeat in Jordan Clarkson. I think Jordan Clarkson just did such a great job, stepping into that role, in Utah. They've basically just kept that team together for the most part. And I just think it's hard to pick a guy, confidently pick a guy outside of Jordan Clarkson. However, I wanted to throw this little nugget in there as an honorable mention. Our guy, Terence Ross, who we think should have been more in the sixth man of the year conversation back in the 2018-2019 season, where I believe he averaged 15 a game, something like that. 15.1 points per game. If he is with the team like for the entire year this year, he is going to have such an opportunity to just shoot the ball as much as he wants in that second unit. Terence Ross will. If he can have an efficient year, I could see Terence, scoring 16, 17 points per game. Now, this is the argument that I'll make. If you took this roster and you put them somewhere like New York or LA, and Terrence had the kind of season that I'm describing, I think he would absolutely be in the conversation. However, I think because of where we are in Orlando and probably because of how bad the team will be, I don't know if it's possible for him to have a good enough season to end up in that conversation. So give me your MIP pick and then what you think of Terrence Ross's chance. Because right now on Bovada, he's got like top 10 odds. Like he's tied with quite a few guys, plus 2,000 right now to win sixth man of the year.
So for my sixth man of the year, Jonathan, we're gonna go trivia again. I know you love my trivia here. Okay. So
I like it when I get the question right.
Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, so only 2 players have done this to this point, this achievement, and I think that there's going to be a third this year. 2 players have won MVP and sixth man of the year in their careers. One of
You're
them
going to say Derrick Rose.
One of them is James Harden, one's Bill Walton, and I think Derrick Rose can do it this year. I think he can win sixth man of the year.
That's the only guy that's currently in the league that has won an MVP that I think would even be a candidate for that. So
exactly.
That was kind of an easy. But I would not have I probably would have missed on both of those because what I thought you were going to say is guys that have won it multiple times, and I was going to say Jamal Crawford, Lou Williams.
Yeah.
And I thought you were going to say you picked Jordan Clarkson. Obviously you didn't. But, yeah, let's hear why you think Derrick Rose.
Yeah, the biggest thing is, man, you look at the Knicks last year. D. Rose goes to New York. When Derrick Rose played, the Knicks were 24-11. Had a near 70% win percentage with Derrick Rose playing. D. Rose shot almost 3 attempts a game from 3. And let's see, he shot 41% from 3 last year. So he's a guy that has, I'm very happy for D. Rose. I think that he has found kind of his niche there with Tibbs again, and then has found his role coming off the bench as a sixth man, leading that second unit for the Knicks. And like I said, to a 24-11, record, the Knicks are the 4th seed in the East last year. I don't think that the Knicks are the 4th seed in the East last year without Derrick Rose. He's going to give you a 14, 15 a game. I mean, D. Rose is still a stud to me, and I don't see why he couldn't win sixth man of the year this year.
They made one addition to that team that I think is going to take a little bit from Derrick Rose's statistical input, and you're not going to like what the name I'm about to say. Evan Fournier.
Yeah,
Evan Frenchie. That's not a very nice term there, but no, I'm just kidding. No, that's not a bad pick at all. But I do think Evan is gonna shine in the Big Apple. We'll see. All right, defensive player of the year. Who do you have?
Going back to the well, not last year's Depoy, but year before that, there, Rudy Gobert. I don't. There's another one. I'm not a big guy. I'm not a big overthinker, and I think Rudy Gobert. I mean, anytime you have a guy that's going to give you, almost 3 blocks a game, 10 defensive rebounds a game, he's going to be in that conversation every year. His offensive game is a whole other story that I cannot stand. But defensively, I think it's a safe pick, and I just think that that's a pick that I can depend on. Rudy will be in the at least the final conversations near the end of the year.
So I have a guy who it seems like is in the conversation each year, but has just never really been able to get it done. I've got Anthony Davis. Part of that is kind of the, I guess, air quotes, commitment that we've gotten from him that he's going to play more at the 5. If that's the case and he's closer to the rim, like Rudy Gobert, last year, 2.7 blocks per game, one defensive player of the year. I think that Anthony Davis can get to that level. A couple of years ago when we saw Jonathan Isaac go out on New Year's Day, it was him and Anthony Davis basically leading the league in blocks per game around that time. Like our boy Jonathan Isaac, and this is what I'll say. I would have picked Jonathan Isaac if he wasn't coming off of an ACL injury. Like,
Right.
I think this is the last year where, like, he's not a favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year if he stays healthy. Even coming off of the ACL, if he's able to play like 60-plus games, I still think he makes either a first or second All-NBA defensive team. I'll go out and say that right now. I think if Jonathan Isaac can play 60-plus games, he will absolutely make a defensive team. But without playing 82 games, I don't think he's going to be all the way back. Usually it takes like a year to get back from that ACL once you've actually started playing again. But yeah, I think Anthony Davis. I think the Lakers are going to look to like reestablish like that defensive identity that they had a couple of years ago that took them to win, the NBA championship. And I think they're going to look to Anthony Davis to really anchor that. Obviously, you got Russell Westbrook, who's still, a great defender. LeBron James, who can still give you, great defense in spurts and stretches. They've got a few other guys, but I think Anthony Davis is really going to, look to, anchor that defense, and I think he has a real shot to win DPOY. Last but not least, who's your coach of the year?
So I'm going to go with my coach of the year pick with a guy that I think is going to benefit a lot from who I believe to be the runner-up at MVP this year, and that is going to be Jason Kidd. I think Jason Kidd can kind of right the ship this year, and in terms of his coaching career, can I help you?
Jason Kidd?
Yeah. And
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. I think that the
All
Mavericks, the Mavericks last year, they start, and it's not because I think Jason Kidd is an extraordinary coach.
From literally praising God when he got hired by the Dallas Mavericks, and now he's your coach of the year. Why didn't you want him to coach the Magic?
Because he's not going to do any. It has less to do with Jason Kidd himself, and more to do with the fact that the Mavs had a rough start to the year last year with COVID protocols, things like that. They get right. They finish 5th in the West. I think they could be a top 4 team in the West this year. Luka Doncic, I think, is going to take what people don't even think is possible and taking another step. And I think that he'll be runner-up for MVP this year. And I think that Jason Kidd is going to reap the benefits of having just a really talented team that he's getting to coach. And, he's got an under 500 record right now. And I think that is going to vastly change coming this year with the Mavericks. And I think that Jason Kidd's going to win Coach of the Year.
We will see, my boy. We will definitely see. Did you see the image, like the side-by-side of Luka at Media Day last year and Luka Media Day this year? Like how much, like in much better shape he is this year?
Yeah.
So, like...
And then below it, you put Zion Williamson's last year Media Day and this year's Media Day.
I think that was the photo you're talking about. I think that was his 2019 Media Day. But still, yeah, it's a pretty stark comparison.
Yeah.
He's been enjoying that New Orleans gumbo for a fact. But yeah, Luka, I agree. I do think he has even another level that he can get to. This is going to be, his 4th season in the NBA now. I think Luka has the opportunity to make another leap.
Yeah,
like
I was very close to this. Yeah, these like
as
you
was
said,
I
was
MVP.
very close to having him as MVP.
Yeah,
Luka is just incredible. Luka Magic. So he, averaging 28 a game basically his last 2 seasons. Last year, if you look at it, he's averaged almost 28, 8 rebounds, almost 9 assists. Shooting 35% from 3 on 8.3 attempts. He's just insane, man. And I would be super happy for Luka if he is able to win the MVP award this year. More happy than I would be for Jason Kidd, who's got some character questions, if he won Coach of the Year this year.
Yeah. My Coach of the Year, and I just realized that I gave the Western Conference like a clean sweep on all the regular season awards. I'm going very Nuggets heavy. I feel like Michael Malone is a guy who's been in Coach of the Year, discussions, the past few seasons. If Denver, is able to beat, like you said, the Dallas Mavericks, if they're able to be like a top 4 seed, if the Nuggets finish as like a top 4, maybe even as like a top 5 seed without Jamal Murray for most of the year, I really feel like Michael Malone is going to have a great chance to win Coach of the Year. Yeah. I have Nikola Jokic to be my MVP. Michael Porter Jr. to be the most improved player. So those guys both having stellar years. If those guys both have stellar years, the Nuggets are going to be very good with or without Jamal Murray. And if that team is really, really good, again, we always talk about narratives, and a Denver Nuggets team in a very tough, competitive Western Conference without arguably their second best player in Jamal Murray, if they're able to secure home court advantage, in the first round of the playoffs, you would have a tough time not involving Michael Malone in the Coach of the Year conversations. A lot of people are picking guys, like Monty Williams, which I definitely think he has a great shot as well.
Could have won it last year.
Could have won it last year, absolutely. Thibodeau was very deserving also.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to kind of go outside of the box with my Coach of the Year pick. So as you did as well, I will definitely hand it to you. I was not expecting you to go the Jason Kidd route. So all right, Luke, how did you do last week with your college bets? What action we got this week?
Last week was terrible, so we won't spend much time on it.
Okay.
I went 0-1-1. Ole Miss did not cover. As far as the Arkansas game there, was an exciting finish, great finish. And then Iowa, I had the -3 against Penn State, and Iowa was down big and stormed back and actually won by exactly 3. So we had a good old-fashioned push there. So my college record now is 6-6-2. And then for this week, I switched it up and put my picks on my phone this week. Let's see. So for this week, we've got Kentucky is playing Georgia, both teams 5-0. And Kentucky is plus 22.5 against Georgia. Now, there's reason to believe Georgia can definitely cover this spread, but my college picks this week are very simple. I think that is a huge number that I'm willing to roll the dice on, plus 22.5, in the event that Kentucky is better than Vegas thinks that they are. Kentucky's defense is very solid. They've been surprising a lot of teams. They beat my Florida Gators a couple weeks back, and I think that they can cover that plus 22.5. Now, the other one, Jonathan, has a lot to do with logic as well, and just what I see. You will never see this over-under in an NFL game ever. The over-under is set at 82 for Ole Miss versus Tennessee. Both a couple offenses who have, high-powered offenses, right? Much like Georgia can cover the spread, they could hit the over. But I'm just going to play the numbers game here, Jonathan. I'm taking the under 82. I mean, that's a lot of numbers that I can play with, that I have margin with 82 points in that game. Like I said, I know they can get there, but both these picks for me are just strictly, kind of logic and what numbers and stats say. I'm going Kentucky plus 22.5 and under 82 in Ole Miss, Tennessee.
All right, so I'll take it from here. We'll go a little bit back to the NFL. So last week I actually did pretty well. So I had a couple of wild parlays that I always talk myself into. Those never work out, but I don't really count those. Right. I've been like really, really teaser happy lately. So I had the Rams and the Packers, both teased 6 points. So Rams +3 at Seattle, Packers +3 at Cincinnati. They both covered. I felt really good about. I ran another Jersey teaser this week. I had the Jets and the Giants 6-point teaser. Jets +9 at Atlanta. Had the Giants +13 at Dallas. I felt really good about that until Saquon Barkley sprained his ankle, and then Daniel Jones looked like he was just in the ring with Tyson Fury for about 17 hours straight, just getting punched in the face. Couldn't walk, spit bubbles coming out of his mouth after a hard hit at the goal line, was concussed, left the game, and then I knew in order for the Giants to have a chance in this game, they were going to have to score a lot of points. As soon as Daniel Jones and Barkley went out of the game, and then Kenny Golladay went out of the game, I think at halftime, I knew that bet was completely toast. Then I had another 6-point teaser, 49ers at the Cardinals, +10.5, Buffalo Bills +9 at the Kansas City Chiefs. That covered for me as well. And then the last teaser that I had on the weekend, another 6-point teaser, I had the Chargers +4 at home against the Browns. And then I had the Baltimore Ravens -1 at home against the Colts. Everyone knows they were down big in that game, came all the way back, won that game in overtime. I really had to sweat that one out. Shouts out to Rodrigo Blankenship for missing that kick. That was really, really clutch. Luke called that in real time that he was going to miss that kick.
He's a Georgia Bulldog. You can't trust those.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, came through clutch, and yeah, so I think I was like 4 for 5 on the week with my teasers, and I'm really, since I've been doing the teasers, it's just like you get really good odds. It's like $25 to win, almost $21, and I just pick like the 7 or 8 games that I think I have a real shot of hitting on. So this week, 7-point teaser. Bengals +3 at Detroit. And then I've got that paired with the Jaguars +10 at home against the Dolphins. All of these are 6-point teasers, I believe. Chargers at the Baltimore Ravens +9. Rams -3.5 at the New York Giants. Looks like Daniel Jones is going to play this week. He practiced today coming back from that concussion. Last week I told myself if Daniel Jones does not play, I don't care what the line is. I'm taking the Rams. Like initially they were, I think right now they're still like -10.5, and I would still be all over that. You could tell me it was -14. I would still take the Rams. Mike Glennon as our starting quarterback. There's no way we're going to keep up, with the Rams. And then I've got the Bills -6 at the Tennessee Titans. What about you, Luke? What's going on with your NFL action this week?
I don't think that we touched any of the same games.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't think we did. And I've only got 2, as I've been doing pretty steadily here, with 2 with college, 2 with NFL. My first one, mine aren't teased. Mine are just, your straight lines here. I've got Green Bay -4.5 at the Bears. Reason for this being, when it comes to NFL, I'm very stats driven, against the spread, straight up, those type of statistics. Matt LaFleur is 4-0 straight up and against the spread against the Chicago Bears since he took over in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers is 10-3 straight up and against the spread when playing in Chicago. So for me, that's really all I needed to see. I think that Green Bay should be favored by a little bit more here. I would be comfortable taking them even at -6 against the Bears. I really do like Green Bay in this position. And then my next one is Steelers -5 against the Seahawks. Geno Smith, obviously looked good last week after Russell's injury, but things to remember here, Steelers now had a full week to prepare for Geno Smith. And, I think that they can really throw him off this weekend. And Seahawks defense, they're terrible. And on the road, in their last 9, the Seahawks are 2-7 against the spread. So give me the Steelers in this one -5 and Green Bay -4.5 in Chicago.
I think the most interesting thing out of everything that you just said was when you mentioned that Aaron Rodgers is 10-3 in Chicago, which tells you that Aaron Rodgers has been playing starting quarterback for the Packers for 13 years now, which just seems crazy. Like, it does not feel that long. And 13 years to do anything is a really, really, really long time. But I like those picks. I definitely think like Geno Smith is not a good quarterback. I've seen him in action for my New York Giants. Thanks to Ben McAdoo, Geno Smith was the quarterback that stepped in that basically put to rest Eli's record of consecutive NFL starts. So thanks to Ben McAdoo for that. It was not Geno Smith's fault. But yeah, Geno Smith is just not a good quarterback. He got hot last week. I'll give that to him. He looked really, really good, especially in the first couple series for the Seahawks. But yeah, and then Juju Smith-Schuster out for the year. That's pretty crazy as well.
Yeah.
Going to look for Claypool and Deontay Johnson really to pop up. I don't have either of those guys in fantasy, but if I'm looking at some DFS stuff, that'd be pretty interesting to look at there. So, Luke, I don't have anything else for us this week. NFL season, not NFL season, the NBA season is starting this week. I've got NFL on the brain. Really, really excited. If you guys haven't checked out our Patreon, please do so. That's growing, pretty significantly. I'm going to go ahead and shout out our patrons. We don't have any new patrons this week, unfortunately. If you would like to join the Patreon, you can find us at patreon.com/the6man show. But shout out to Zico, Keith Garcia, Armin, Drew Gooden, and Court Cousins. Really appreciate your guys' support. It means a lot. If you guys want to be shouted out on each of our podcast episodes, go ahead and subscribe to either our $5 or $10 patron level. Really, really appreciate that. But for Luke Sylvia, this is Jonathan Osborne. You guys are listening to Shoot the Shot, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya.